Inside Michigan Football is presented by Meyer.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Inside Michigan Football. What an afternoon Michigan had against Northern Illinois. The final was 63-10. Michigan the winner. 9 drives. The first 9 possessions, Michigan scores a touchdown. I'm Jim Brandstetter along with John Jansen. And last week, the Washington victory, Michigan ran the ball all over the place, and everybody said, oh, we got to see him throw the football. Well, Michigan threw the football against Northern Illinois. And the key to throwing the football, big plays over the top or underneath. You need to protect the quarterback. And this offensive line, which got a lot of credit for the running game, should also get credit for holding a pass rush away from a quarterback to allow him to go over the top, John.
Well, you know, pass protection involves obviously the 5 offensive linemen. That's the most obvious. They've done a terrific job, but it also involves the running back. Blake Corum steps up on that play that you're referencing to Cornelius Johnson, a big play. And it's also the tight ends. It's also the guys that are running their routes that they're not looking back at the quarterback. They're not running halfway because they know they're not getting the ball. It's 11 guys doing what they're supposed to do. And that's why this game is so important. And when you run the ball the way Michigan has been running the football, that in and of itself is great pass protection because they've got to load so many guys in the box. You sell that run, you come off the ball aggressive, now they don't know if it's a pass or a run, and it's an offensive lineman's dream to block in this offense.
It is. And last week we talked about the running game being great, but what about the passing game? So what does Michigan do opening up first play? They go out to Dalen Baldwin, first snap on a quick out, and get good yardage on first down. That's sending a message. We're not just a one-trick pony.
No, and when you look at being able to use Blake Corum in the run game, in the pass game, being able to use A.J. Henning with the reverses, all of these things are what we're now seeing with this Josh Gattis offense is there's a plan. We're not just throwing plays against the dartboard to see if they work. And it's the formations that they're using. I talked about this in the pregame of, you know, last week there was a lot of counter. There's, you know, tight ends coming back. Now all of a sudden that tight end comes back in that same motion. Instead of kicking out the end, he slips into the flat. We saw Eric All with a great 23-yard pickup on a formation that we saw so many times last week them run out of.
And we saw them run between the tackles a week ago, and we even pointed it out. We had a great job of freeze framing and showing the runs between the tackles. But against Northern Illinois, they go wide. So again, it's a diverse offense, but what you like and what I like too is you set up those plays by how you line up. And that's something you do on Tuesday and Wednesday in the coach's room, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you've got to watch film and see, okay, what is it that Northern Illinois does? How do they match up against different personnel groups, different formations? On the reverse to A.J. Henning, there was one guy outside of Andrew Stuber, that was the defensive end. So by motion, by formation, by personnel group, they knew what they were getting. They run the reverse, and as soon as Hassan Haskins, you know, flips that ball to A.J. Henning, there is absolutely nobody on the right side to defend. And that's all because, one, it was a great sell job by the offense, but it was a great play call because of the way that they knew Northern Illinois was going to match that formation and that personnel group.
And the other thing we talked about this, when Ronnie Bell got hurt in the opener, everybody talked about who's going to be the guy that steps up. Where are those plays coming from? I think through the next 2 games we have seen it, and I think Cornelius Johnson has really been a guy that's stepping up, but A.J. Henning, Roman Wilson, and to some degree the tight end Eric All, I think, is by committee stepping in for Ronnie Bell.
And the one thing that it's not just Cade McNamara that has to be on target, has to be on time. It's Cornelius Johnson. The play that, you know, he had an 87-yard touchdown cast. Everybody thinks that's great. But the one that he just missed on, that was a great ball that was thrown by Cade McNamara. But Cornelius he turns his shoulders too much, slows himself down, which is why it's just out of his reach. Now all of a sudden he comes back and he's running at full stride, looking at the ball, looking at where he's running. No slowdown. All of a sudden, it's an 87-yard touchdown.
Big-time offensive day. We talked a lot about how this offense is diverse and getting better. We've still got a lot more to talk about in this 63-10 victory with 600 yards of total offense from the Wolverines. Stay with us. More of Inside Michigan Football coming your way.
In the gun is McNamara, back to throw. Good blitz pickup. Throwing deep down the right sideline. Cornelius Johnson has it at the 40, the 30. This is going the distance. Touchdown, Cornelius Johnson on the bomb from Cade McNamara.
Today we started to show what we can do, taking some shots, some play action game, and it's only going to help me and only going to help this offense.
They give it to the running back Corum around left end at the 40, at the 30, at the 20, 15, 10. Touchdown, Blake Corum!
I let the plays develop, and when I see a hole, I just burst through it, and I just think I can get to the end zone every time I touch the ball. I feel like I'm electric, and I feel like it doesn't matter what play it is. I feel like I can make something happen, and if it doesn't happen that play, if I get 1 to 2 yards, I know sooner or later something's going to break.
We're dialed in, we're focused, we're keying in the little details week in and week out so that we have our alignment, assignment, and everything we need to do each play to make sure each play is successful. And that's what you need going into a game to make sure you're keyed in and focused and ready to win.
Inside Michigan Football is brought to you in part by Meijer, official sponsor of Michigan Athletics and proud sponsors of local sports teams across the Midwest. And by Gardner White, Detroit's #1 furniture and mattress store.
Throws right to his tight end, incomplete, intercepted. Jamon Green has it.
Playing very focused. We taking one play at a time, as we should. So we focused on each play at a time. As a unit, just being aggressive. Everybody being aggressive, flying to the ball, offense and defense. So for sure, being aggressive. I like that aggressiveness.
The Wolverines' 63-10 win over Northern Illinois was an offensive explosion. We've talked about that, but defensively, Mike McDonald once again. I mean, this offense from Northern Illinois isn't bad. They've got a running back, 4 straight games over 100 yards, considered one of the better in the country in Whaley, and he got nowhere. It's up front, it's the linebackers, the front 7, the corners are covering better. It is a mix and match defense that really causes problems for any offense.
Well, it's so varied. You don't know if it's going to be man, if it's going to be cover in the secondary. You don't know where the linebackers are going to be. You don't know where Aiden Hutchinson's going to be. He's been lining up across the board. As offensive lineman, you've got to identify where he is all the time because you're going to take 2 guys to block him. Well, if he lines up on the left, that changes blocking schemes as opposed to where he lines up on the right. When you have that flexibility of using guys that way, and Josh Ross, he is playing tremendous. He's got a great feel for this offense. He understands where he's supposed to be, and timing is so important in this defense.
And real quickly, Josh Ross is one of those guys, but in your experience, and you've watched Michigan football a lot of times, so have I, this defense in their back 7, and I'm including the edge guys in that, is this the most athletic that they've had in quite some time? Because every one of these guys can run. They've got size. The safeties are big enough to play linebacker. Is this the most athletic group, maybe?
I think this is the most they've allowed to be athletic. And I say that because you're not just putting guys on an island, whereas Vince Gray, hey, you cover this guy one-on-one. Jamon Green, you cover this guy one-on-one. Or Dax Hill or Brad Hawkins. They're allowed to work together, and they're having fun playing because the pressure, the spotlight is not always on them. And as athletes, we love that spotlight, we love that pressure, but if you're getting it 70 plays a game, at some point, it's just too much. They are allowed to be the defenders and have fun playing football, and you can see it in their production and their execution.
And the beauty of playing defense with this kind of group is the fact that the guy that's got your back is just as good as you are or better. And you know that as a team you can depend on them. And that's what this defense has been doing. Don't go away. When we come back, John Jansen will talk with Coach Jim Harbaugh about a big victory over Northern Illinois and a 3-0 start.
The fun that we're having, as you can see on the sideline, everyone's happy for each other when we make big plays. That's what I'm most excited about. That's why I've loved seeing these last 3 games and just winning. I'm a winner. I love winning. I love competing. So that's what I've been happy with so far.
Every snap, everybody's going hard. They're playing for the man next to them, and that's what it takes. That's what the brotherhood of the Michigan men is all about, and that's what we're going to need to keep preparing us to keep building on this and keep getting better.
Today's conversation with Jim Harbaugh is brought to you by Meijer, official sponsor of Michigan Athletics and proud sponsors of local sports teams across the Midwest.
Guys were really executing, running backs, quarterbacks, receivers, and the line, tight ends. Defense did a heck of a job. Everybody playing penalty free for the most part. Just doing a heck of a job. Great team win. Special teams was outstanding. AJ Henning returning the punts was right on. I think he's got a chance to be one of the really good ones.
Defense forced a turnover as well. That had to be a good sight and a good feeling.
Yeah, it was. We haven't turned the ball over on offense, but we hadn't gotten any turnovers up until that point. So it's good to be +1 in the turnover margin.
And with that interception return, there were 10 plays over 20 yards today, an explosive output. How important is it to continue that momentum as you start the Big Ten season?
Well, it's it's all about the Big Ten season. Now it starts next week. That's what we talked about in the locker room after the game, and it was a great day for executing and being good on all sides of the ball and special teams, and also a great morale builder too, because so many players played. I mean, there's 100 guys that got into over 100 that got into a Michigan football game. I mean, I think that's got to be some kind of record. And guys went in and did really well. I mean, our third and fourth teams in there, getting the experience of playing. I mean, once you play in a game and you get the practice of it, you start realizing football. You can do it. You get the confidence, and hey, this isn't as hard as I thought. I can go in there and play and do my job. And so that was great to see. And coaches as well. Great morale on the coaching staff, and so. But we're not going to fall in love with ourselves or our stuff. We're because we know we can get better.
All right, let's talk some individuals. Cade McNamara, good first half. J.J. McCarthy in the second half. You mentioned the experience, but what did you see from Cade that you like going into the Big Ten season?
Well, I think I've been thinking that the timing with the receivers in the pass game has been really good all through camp and through the first 3 weeks of the season. Cornelius Johnson had a chance to really step up and show what he can do. Timing was there. Cade sat in the pocket, saw the field real well, and made a real great throw on the long 83-yarder. I thought he once again really operated the offense, calm, cool, and collected at all times out there. And Dalen Baldwin, see him get into the action, and also what Roman and AJ can do. They've shown what they can do on the reverses and things like that, but they're really good receivers as well.
And Blake Corum, third straight game over 100 yards in the backfield. I know you talk about it as well as it's a big performance for him, but it's also that offensive line. But this offense just keeps churning out yards on the ground.
There's no question that the backs are really good. Blake Corum is a really, really good back, and shows a sign. I mean, there's a dynamic there with their two styles, and then you had Donovan Edwards, who also had a big long run as well. I mean, what he can do. I mean, those three are quite a tandem.
The defense started with a 3-and-out. Trio, yes. The defense started with a 3-and-out, and then there was a 70-play drive that the defense stiffened up, only allowed a field goal. What changed after that drive?
I mean, there was so many 3-and-outs in the game. I mean, 6 or 7, something like that. Don't know that anything changed. They hit us on a couple quarterback keepers that we have to play and be more disciplined with. But another great game called by Mike, and for the most part, I thought we did really well. I mean, a lot of drives where they didn't score points, a lot of drives that were 3-and-out and got the ball right back for the offense.
What was the message to the team about, hey, the 3 non-conference games are over, now the Big Ten season starts?
You just hit it right there. Yeah, it's time for Big Ten play now. Let's keep working, keep getting better, and see how good we can get.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
Time now for our Al Rose Steel Man of the Week. Here's Ed Kengursky.
Cornelius Johnson's 87-yard touchdown grab in the second quarter was Michigan's only non-running score of the day. The long-distance dash was Johnson's first TD of the season and third longest touchdown reception in school history.
All the receivers were running down the field with him like we're scoring. Our receiver group is so tight-knit, and we have such a great bond. It's that when one person has success, it's like the whole room is having success.
Interestingly enough, Cade McNamara says he got smacked on that play and never saw Johnson catch the football. He also smiled and added it felt good to let a few rip on Saturday, saying he'll do whatever this team needs to win. For Inside Michigan Football, I'm Ed Kengursky.
Just what we envisioned as a defense, really like in terms of physicality, communicating-wise, and just the all-out effort to the ball. That's what we want it to look like on tape in terms of how fast we're playing. So that's definitely the standard that we want to live up to this point. So the expectations will keep it going.
That was Mike McDonald, who we heard from earlier this week. We also heard from Mike Hart, who is thrilled with the running game. Mike actually thinks it's a lot like a video game.
I run the ball in Madden all day. That's why I'm not fun to play against. It's dive, 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 get to 3rd and 1, run the ball, do it again. And that's I'm serious, though. That's how I play Madden. And I throw a little quick out, get it done. So, but yeah, I like playing that way.
Air-minded Stanford was the next test for Michigan. During that week, getting ready for Stanford, the Wolverines had an unexpected visit from their #1 fan, President Gerald Ford. The former Wolverine center and linebacker was in Ann Arbor, and he took time to visit and eat with the Michigan football team at their training table in the Michigan Union.
Watch on television, and I'm very proud of the great record that you've had and the way you play football. You play to win, and that's the only way I know to move ahead, whether you're on the gridiron or whether you're in classrooms or whether you're in politics or anything else. So good luck. Beat Stanford. And you've got 9 more ball games before you go to the Rose Bowl.
Right.
The Wolverines rushed for 531 yards against Stanford at Michigan Stadium. Harlan Huckleby led the way with 157 yards and a touchdown. Rob Lytle ran for 101 yards and 2 scores, and Russell Davis rang up 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, including this 85-yard run. Top-ranked Michigan shut out Stanford 51-0 45 years ago this week.
So 4th down now and 1.
Oh, Michigan timeout. Take a timeout, guys. We didn't have a team on the field.
Boy, Dan, that was an Alphonse and Gaston move. They may be trying to get Michigan to
Yeah, they're
jump.
not even going to snap it.
Hey, can I ask a question? Who's Alphonse Gaston?
Doug's too young. The Alphonse and Gaston routine? Do you know that one, Dan? Come on. Don't leave me to dry like this.
Sure I do.
Ah! Oh, no.
Richard Calderazzo sends the Alphonse and Gaston Wikipedia page.
Okay.
It is an American comic strip by Frederick Opper. Okay. It first appeared in William Randolph Hearst's New York Journal on September the 22nd, 1901. So, you and I have a get-out-of-jail-free card here.
Wait a minute.
He's referencing the talkies.
This thing first appeared 120 years ago.
Hey, time out. I am a historian. And if we don't remember history, we tend to repeat it.
Alphonse and Gaston's grandchildren are dead.
So Alphonse and Gaston, is that 2 people? Is it 1 person?
That's 2 people, and if you were a historical guy where you understood literature, it was a comic strip back in the old days. If you listen to the radio broadcast, you knew this Alphonse and Gaston thing went off the charts. But they're a bumbling pair of guys, and the play on the field was a bumbling play by Michigan.
So it's the prelude to the Three Stooges. But just
bit.
with 2 dudes.
A little bit, yeah, with 2 dudes. Okay. French guys, but they were very polite.
unlike the way Doug treated you, and then Deerdorf.
And now you.
Yeah, Doug was driving the bus, and Deerdorf had the gas pedal.
But with all that being said, we have a new Michigan fan. Congratulations to John Jansen. His new son, Theodore Scott Jansen, born this week, 21.5 inches, 7.12 the weight. And Theodore Scott, and Scott is the middle name for a reason, isn't that true?
It is. Scott was a former teammate of mine. He was a freshman when I was a 5th year, and he is my wife Lisa's brother. We didn't know each other for 20 years, but through the Michigan football family, and this is what Michigan football is to so many people, we ran into each other. We lost Scott 3 years ago, and to honor him, when we had our son, we wanted to make sure that his name, his legacy lived on.
Thank you, and congratulations to John and Lisa. Teddy, it's good to have you along. Go Blue. Join us next week. It'll be great to have you along as we start the Big Ten season against Rutgers right here on Inside Michigan Football.
Inside Michigan Football is brought to you in part by Meijer, official sponsor of Michigan Athletics and proud sponsors of local sports teams across the Midwest. And by Gardner White, Detroit's #1 furniture and mattress store.